What's going on, YouTubes? Time for another recap. So, as we get into it, just a quick reminder, if you didn't see the last video, Dell22, an amazing member of mine here at Boiler Room Trading, is sponsoring a membership. So if you guys want to join with us at BRT and you are not a member, comment Dell22 on every video this week, Monday through Friday. I'll be picking a winner on Saturday, along with giving away those top step accounts we love to do on Saturday live stream. So today, a little bit of a late video. Looks like the P&L is already updated, but we did about 5K again today. We could probably find some P&Ls in the old Discord here as posted. So here's one grouping right there, 3, 6, 79. That was the $1,500 day on that grouping. And I don't know if I posted the other one, but we did about, there's another one, 6. This ended up at 800, 800, 603. So altogether is like 5,300 between all of them. I don't know if I captured that last one. We were getting her in here. So if you've seen the X post, let's get into it. The short opportunity for today. So if you were watching our stream over and over and over again, we're talking about the 10 SMA daily being the first target, and we could potentially turn back around because we use something called first tag metrics. So I'll get into that in a second, but this was the breakdown for today. And I said short under VWAP today, we're coming down to the final short target of 562. We actually put on some further short targets for that as well, because we had some no tag GPs for the retail sales yesterday, which we'll talk about on the SPY. So I had 3 different outlooks short. I had a 1 minute gap open on SPY, which we needed to come down to. So we were just short all morning. That's all I said was short and close your computers today. That's what we said. We even played some plays here, made some couple jokes with you guys here on X. I said maybe, and we already knew where it was going. So 150 point call out of the gate there, nabbing a nice little 44.7 or 4-0, 44047. You know what I mean. And talking about it later. So in the Discord, we did have a couple of different call outs there for those moves. Okay. So I go through these large breakdowns in pre-market too, setting up for all these trades. And I'm telling my members, I'm explaining every little kit boodle I can possibly can for what we're seeing here. I was calling the VIX support here coming into the MAC 0 level. That was today at 7:42 in the morning, saying get ready for your shorts. We're going to break a very premium level, which was the massive over-under from yesterday's video. You can check the link in the description how I call this stuff on the last video if you want. 480.57. That was the massive over-under I called. So I said once it goes under there, QQQ, massive over-under, only thing to watch. Algo defense here is nuts. Then later, boom, riding micros for minimums because we got our top step payouts. We did secure another 7,000 plus in payouts on top step. That brings us to just over 41K for February. So big shout out to top step as always. So we go through a little bit more news. Let's get a breakdown. Let's get into it. So I'll show you how we set up the opportune short under VWAP and final short target. Now, like we always like to do, we do the first tag metric, algo metric, and golden pocket. So if you watched any of the last 15 videos, we talked about the break at the 10 SMA daily, okay? So you had a candle break near all-time high, snapped it. We ran through to the downside, 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 never tagged it right here. So what I do is a confirmational back test. Once something cracks and it finally comes back to it, we call this a first tag metric. This happens on moving average, Fibonacci's, all sorts of cool stuff. I can teach you how it works if you join up. Link's always in the description. So we hit that 10 SMA yesterday, and I was like, well, if we leave that GP open and we crack down, we need what? A golden pocket tag, right? Because last Thursday is 314, and we draw this golden Fibonacci here. And then I use the high of that candle for an over-under, and I look for a reason to short that sucker. Well, we had all the reason in the pre-market breakdowns and all the reason I told my chat today short under the VWAP, and it worked out relatively well. So we had this huge breakpoint right here, and if we got underneath 564, we were going to go to 599, pretty much 599.13. But the low of day, I even answered a couple X questions today in the comments. I said, Brandon, how low could it go? I said 599. Look at that, 599. I missed it by 7 cents. So not too shabby. We did need a golden pocket tag, though, from last Thursday's candle. It's really that simple. Let's get into the QQQs because we'll show you the red, well, not red for me, but the watch call here. So we were looking at a 1 minute chart for a bounce, and I want to go over a couple things that we could have played differently and what we did say for later on. Now, we have a lot going on here. Let me delete some of this stuff so it's a little easier to see. All right, so we had this opening morning wash on the Qs, and we expected it to come down around 473.14, weekly fib, good back test, right? So what I did is I took some of the opening ranges here, the 5-minute, and I pointed them to the downside, okay? Let me make those neon green so they're very easy and apparent to see. This is the 5-minute opening candle Fibonacci high-low pointed to the downside. So your extensions are 4, 7, 8 pretty much, 1, 6, 1, 8, 2, 6, 1, 8, 3, and 4. Now, in my chat, I said, guys, we're looking for this little rally back to VWAP. That will be the only counter trend long to play. And before I left my chat, I said, we're looking kind of cool right here. We might get it right here. And then it finally cracked through a VWAP. But let's look at what I could have talked about differently here, because, well, what I did talk about is the algos closing on EU. So I said the long move will probably happen 10:30, 11 a.m. Central is what I said on stream. Well, here's your 10:30. Here's your 11. Look at your 11 o'clock. There's your higher low. There's your freaking VWAP tag. So we did talk about having this play out between 10:30 and 11, which it did, because we do understand algorithmic closes on different markets. And that is a very big precursor to how we take these trades. The one thing I could have waited for here, done a little bit differently, because we were looking for that bounce right here, and we found the shy, okay? So look at this weekly right here, 473.14 is a weekly 38.20 Fibonacci. Very strong one from last week. The price action today came all the way down and almost tagged that weekly, right? Right there. And if you look real close, it shied it. And what do we know about shies? They come back usually, right? So let me resume here. Holy mouse. All right. So that weekly needed to come back. We shy that weekly, comes up, fakes out the little VWAP tag, comes down, tags through the weekly, but look at the fib. We could have just waited to the 423, which is one of our favorite intraday max extensions. So that 5-minuter pointed to the downside up here, the opening 5, just the first 5 minute of the market, high-low fib, put in the absolute bottom for 423. That would have been a big precursor as well to take that long trade. We came into that 423.60, popped up, hit that 100 EMA, and then boom, higher load exactly at the weekly, which I wanted to see get defended for support. And that happened at 10:30.11 as we discussed, moved into that VWAP, hit the target. So if my boys are patient here, waited till 10:30.11, it did play out. A little over, so was that just under 80 points, about 77 points there. Now, we have a lot of indecision and a lot of news coming up, so the rest of the day was Chop City, right? So what's next? What's the prediction? Well, when we get into high volatile newses and areas of affecting markets, we like to come into the in our Discord. We post everything through the Trade Exchange. It's a sponsor of ours. Use the Trade Exchange. It's the best news service I've ever seen. But we have coming up is the FOMC Wednesday. So we could get a little bit lazy until we get some, real solid data. That's tomorrow, actually. So as this comes up for the FOMC, it generally affects the day prior to trading. So if we're trading this Tuesday today, we got no real data. We had the retail sales. Oh, shit, I forgot to go over the candle. We'll go back and do that candle. But the day leading into, so Tuesday leading into Wednesday, because the FOMC is so huge, generally Tuesday just doesn't move and then just does this. It just waits. And then after hours tonight, we're not going to be trading anything because it's going to do the same darn thing. So with that being said, let's get into that intraday chart because I want to tell you how we predicted that SPY down. I forgot all about that. Oh, I can't spell. There we go. So we're going to drop it down to 5-minute chart and show you how we got the bottom of the day. Remember those neon green fibs I showed you a picture of at the beginning of the video? That came from retail sales yesterday, okay? Sorry about that. Forgot about this. High-low retail sales, okay? And this is where no golden pocket backtesting extensions play out. So you hear me talk about fib recycling, and as we go up, we generally come back down. So this was the setup today, okay? Here's the retail sale high-low 5-minute, pointed obviously to the upside, right? And it goes up to the 1618, 2618, 3618, 423, my favorite intraday, cough, cough. What did we just do today on the Qs that we just talked about? 423.16 today. Now we look for the fib recycle. This is one of the biggest precursors to the short I took today because the 566 was the 2618 recycling back. So anything under the 3618 goes to the 2618. We had a low open right here, came above the 2618 a little bit here in pre, and then just showed this beautiful short. And I said, everybody just short. We're going to stay under 566. Just put a short position on, close your computer, come back later. That's exactly what I said to most people. And the breakdown was because of this magnet. So if you notice the retail, high-low here, the price action yesterday never came back, did it? This 5-minute candle's golden pocket is wide open. And then it held and defended that 100 fib and did a full run breakout, as we discussed, right to the 423.60. So coming into a lower high today in pre and failing the fib recycle here, our fib support, because you can hold these fibs and it can start cycling back up. But when you recycle them, right, one way, down, back, recycling, right? We're going to follow fib to fib all the way till we get our final short target of the day. And that's where I wanted to be. Now, we have secondary short targets that come in, right? Where we're going, oh, okay, we have 5.913 later on. That's the golden pocket of the daily. But before the daily, we had this GP to worry about on retail sales. So if that pushed down into the retail sales here and would have held up and maybe messed around a little bit, we never would have seen that GP. So we needed to see confirmation through retail sales high low, right? So we did get that. We cracked all the way down and we hit target of golden pocket of yesterday. Okay, now what's on deck for tomorrow, Brandon? Okay, well, I wish I knew. The FOMC is there, so no predictions, unfortunately. We will go over one little thing here, which we can see a 50 tag. Why is this thing being so weird? I have an indicator in the background there making TOS freak out. We do have one interesting indicator here, and we're going to go off the weekly here. Because it's fun, right? So the golden right here, that's the daily. We're going to make this a little cleaner for you guys, and I'll show you. And again, don't trade into the FOMC range. This 1 minute gap is filled. So we're looking at the weekly trade or chart. We're going to go high-low from last week. We're going to turn it teal because that's our favorite weekly color. There we go. And then we're going to move on. So we do have... We are subjected to go a little bit lower into potentially 9/11's candle and down. FOMC will definitely be the play to have that happen if that goes back down. I'll show you on the futures here in a second. But if this weekly golden pocket lets go tomorrow during that FOMC, we're going to get that continuation down to the 9/11 candles that were not tagged, okay? And that's a daily 9/11. We've talked about this candle a million times in the last 15 days. So I'm not going to go into it here. But the GP of last week, I want you guys to put that on. Get your box between 562 pretty much and 557 and a quarter, okay? If that holds up above, take that sucker long for a little bit and let it run back up. And then we can see that jolt up and push. If the FOMC drags it down, well, under this, we're going to complete the cycle. Here's the interesting thing about the Fibonacci cycle and why I think we could potentially go down before up if we get under this GP. We will go down only because we have now functioned up form into resistance of this last week's fib. We opened up, right? We held the GP. We made it all the way to the top. But because Fibonacci, I kind of treat them as gaps, this is a full range, right? So this full range of Fibonacci needs to be filled up. So underneath this golden pocket, underneath yesterday's body, we'll look for that daily fail too. We could come all the way down to the bottom of the weekly candle, filling that up if we trend under golden pocket. So anything under 559.62, looking for some speed through FOMC, we'll probably end up at the bottom of the weekly if that's the move. If not, I'll show you exactly where we're going to go. But just to tap on this for 2 seconds, this is the 9/11 candle on the daily. If you fib out the high and the low of this guy and send her to the right, and you zoom in so close because you're blind like me, we have a GP shy. That's the 9/11 golden pocket. That's the lowest part of price action. That's scary. We always talk about these shies to come back down. So what better for the market to cut through the 10 SMA, first tag the 10 SMA on confirmation, continue trend to the GP down here for FOMC? Sure, let's do it. If we don't see that short move, which kind of leaning short right now, we're going to stay above the golden pocket, break back up to that 10, and we're going to go right here to the purple channel of 572 because we will hold this GP weekly and we'll slam back up into here and we'll start slamming up into 594 big old longs, which I'll be looking for on the rally. But is it time for the rally yet? That's one thing we have to look for confirmation. One little pop doesn't mean many things, especially because of our first tag algo systems. It breaks through the 10 SMA, pops back, hits the 10, that can continue to one more fresh low before we get a rally and change. And if the FOMC is that catalyst on top of what we've seen for tariffs, well, so be it. We'll play it. So again, we're not going to go into any kind of trading tonight, but the NQ futures, my assumption is short. So if you're going to lose today's lows, you're not going to have much of a opportunity here. But if we lose today's, we have 2 different algo pockets to worry about, unfortunately. So let's clean this up a little bit here. And I'll show you real quick if these candles are going nuts here, shaking back and forth. This GP candle right there from old contract, could potentially be that overnight hit. So if we lose the close, which again, I very rarely do you see any kind of moves here, you go over under 318's candle. I don't know why the candles are shaking here. So you're going to take the close right here of yesterday, quote unquote yesterday, because futures open at 5, right? And that's the only level you're going to want to see. Let's go to the intraday here. And I'm going to draw out 2 channels if my eyeballs don't melt from the shaking. The 2 no GP takes 5 minutes. Hopefully it's not shaking in here. Okay, it's not. All right, white price level. That's what you look for overnight, okay? White dash price level. Above it, into GP. Below it, GP. That's it. Simple as that. Look for the confirmations. Bring up your oscillation. Is the RSI trending in the bottom side and weak? Is the MACD breaking through that 0 center line and giving you a lot of weakness? Go for that lower. If it pops back up and starts holding trend, it wants to come chase down some of these no tag GPs we got back here. We got a couple of them in a row. Nothing too, oh no, only one. The other one's filled up. But if we see those start to go, I'll give my class one hint if you guys tuned in this. Okay, I'm not going to talk about it on here because this is a new forward testing secret system here, but that's all I got to say. Pay attention, my friends, okay? Pay attention. So you know we're leaning to the short side. You probably know why we're leaning to the short side. So let's see that drop underneath 19,700, fail to the 19,500s. We'll see you then. If you want to see me trade and do this stuff live every single day, the link's in the description. If you want to win a free account to come trade with us, comment Del22 on this video. Leave a regular comment of whatever the hell you want, because I'm also going to give away a Top Step account. So 2 comments, one that says Del22, one that says whatever the heck you want. And I will see you guys on the next video. Take care. Trade safe.